Tim Pool actually was tweeting something that Donald Trump had said, and it came as a bit of a surprise.
What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
What are you talking about, Don?
This is
all
outrageous.
So that was at 4 p.m., right? Sorry, that was 4 p.m. today. And then at 6:45, Donald Trump truthed. I don't have a link to it. Actually, maybe I can find a link to it.
Jack Posobiec also added, the murderer of Molly Tibbetts was a Mexican illegal who worked on a dairy farm in Iowa.
Well, yeah, that is true.
He was just looking for honest work.
Let's see. So here's the actual tweet from Donald Trump, or the truth from Donald Trump. The follow up to that statement at the press conference. The Biden administration and Governor Gavin Newsom flooded America with 21 million illegal aliens, destroying schools, hospitals, and communities, and consuming untold billions of dollars in free welfare. All of them have to go home, as do countless other illegals and criminals who will turn us into a bankrupt third world nation. America was invaded and occupied. I'm reversing the invasion. It's called re-immigration. Our courageous ICE officers who are daily being subject to doxing and murder threats are heroes. We will always have their back as they carry out this noble mission. America will be for Americans again. So that seems to be walking back the idea of keeping the farm workers that his friends that own farms.
I think people are straining to see something that's not here. What this articulation in this Truth Social post that we're reading right now is consistent with what President Trump has said from the very beginning, and is consistent with the policies that he's enacted since he got sworn in on January 20th.
Dude, you make sense.
I think that what he was sort of riffing with the Fox News reporter, I don't view that in any way as like a firm articulation of a policy position. I don't view it as like we're staking out a new thing. I think that he is channeling what I imagine are some concerns that have been articulated to him. But I don't see this as a policy pronouncement in any way, shape, or form. I think that the Truth Social post that came 2.5 hours afterwards was not so much a walking back, but just a re-articulation of what he said there was maybe a little bit different and threw some folks off. But the Truth Social post was consistent with what he's been doing from the beginning. So it just doesn't bother. I mean, I don't love.
Can you throw that back up there?
Then why did he say that?
Say what?
What is common sense in his estimation from that clip?
You're talking about the
we're
4
going to need to
clip?
use. Yeah, we're going to need to use common sense about that.
I think he is thinking and
his rhetoric is giving
out loud.
me whiplash.
Yeah,
there's a real world here, if I might, been out in it. What he says is, all of you that just came in here, this last wave, you're gone. There's not going to be amnesty. And if you came in the first wave and you're a punk and a creep and you've been convicted, you're gone. What he said today makes 100% sense to me. For instance, David, ¿qué tal? Es Carlito, bro. There's a dude. I worked in the canneries, slaughterhouses, the grape orchards. There are people been here for 20 years working, can't go home, can't go to funerals. They got kids that are doctors. David is a good neighbor. He works. They're not paying enough for you to go work for $9 an hour in the California sun. picking grapes gently so you don't bruise them. David's been doing it. In 2013, there was the immigration reform bill. They came up with a concept called a blue card, not a green card, a blue card, which means you work ag. You don't get to vote. You have some access to government programs, right? You can move internationally, go to the funeral. They're upstanding people in our country. They've been here forever, built lives. We're not running them out. And if you think we're running them out, we will go broke, because working in a slaughterhouse, they're not paying anymore. They're not paying in the canneries anymore, because that's all been broken. So in the short term, if you gathered everybody up, you're never going to eat. Not that Americans won't do the jobs, because they used to do the jobs.
Well, they used to do the jobs for higher livable wages.
I'll give you an
illegal
example.
Illegal immigration,
Yes,
on scale, is what
Yes.
has caused these jobs that you would otherwise be able to live off of to now be subpar.
In 1985, when the Hormel unionized workers went on strike in Minnesota, they were making $10.50 an hour, adjusted for inflation, because we all now know what inflation is. That's $32 an hour.
Yeah.
And they got benefits like a pension, right? Yeah. What do they pay in the Hormel plants today?
Dirt, probably.
Dirt?
Not a lot.
18, 16, 15?
Without-
In fact, they're replacing the illegals with the new illegals,
Right.
so they can cut the wage. That's
Look,
what's going on.
I just
It's a
my
longer-term problem.
my view of this is, Mary asked the question, what does he mean by common sense? I just don't read a lot into what he's saying in this clip, genuinely. And maybe I'm being completely naive. Typically, I don't like to think that I'm naive, but I'm hearing the president riff casually with a reporter that he knows extremely well and is sort of just thinking out loud.
And I hear policy.
And by the way,
I hear policy.
I don't, because if you hear policy, then what if you were to conclude that what the President of the United States said in a 1 minute, 6 second clip, which is completely different from everything he's ever said
I don't know if
on
that's true.
immigration. Okay.
He never said everybody got to go.
I don't think that's true.
What I read in the second clip was, all of you that came the second time under bogus circumstances, you're out. And if you came that first time,
What's the
because we got
second
a
time?
lot of those.
What's the second time?
The second time would be the Biden era. The first time would be when NAFTA got signed, the peso collapsed, and everybody came in about 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, when you started hearing on the telephone, if you want English, press number 1.
Yeah.
Para español, marque número 2.
This
About that time.
Yeah, this is when the great Pat Buchanan was putting out great ads, actually. in
And
the
don't
early
forget,
90s.
dude, when NAFTA got signed, then WTO got signed, normalization of trade with China got signed, Detroit got crushed, our jobs went overseas, and what came in for the rest of the jobs? Cheap labor. So you can't turn that around with a few immigration sweeps. You just can't. I think he's making sense to me. It's real world.
No, I don't think so. I think that there was a move toward progressive globalization that believed that global markets, borderless countries, an erosion of identity of state, nation, and people is something that swept the West from the 80s to the 90s to the early 2000s.
Called
And what
neoliberalism. Yep.
Correct. And what President Trump represents is a rejection of that. And it's not just him, but it's now supermajorities of American voters who reject that. We've seen the fruits of it. And it has been, in my opinion, terrible for America, both economically and culturally. And so I celebrate the worldview articulated in the Truth Social post that came at 6:45 that I think represents the heart of President Trump's immigration agenda, for which I intend, as the next Texas Attorney General,
a website
at where you can go to aaronrights.com to stand alongside him, fighting to deport illegal aliens, defend, build the border wall, protect our communities, end human and drug trafficking.
All right.
That was a great pivot, man. That was a good one.
That was solid.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.